Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the PPC Chat Roundup. We have the awesome Sarah Steeman this time doing a step in for Julie Bicini. And we are going to be talking about doing research in PPC. Sarah leads us on this fantastic chat where we talk about what our strategy is, whether it's something we do once or something that's ongoing. How often do we do that? What tools do we use? I definitely have a tool for you for that one. So make sure you listen out for question 3 there. And what tool we actually wish existed, whether when it comes to doing our jobs well, there's a lot of things that we have wishful thinking about that we hope is going to come soon. And this kind of research, we're talking keyword research for a good ad copy, what kind of content is good to put in an ad copy, competitor research, all those different kinds of research in terms of ensuring you have a very good and efficient and successful campaign setup for your clients, for your campaigns. So let's get the fantastic advice from our fantastic PPC chat community and listen to what they say about it, see whether they have similar ideas to you or whether you're going to learn something new today. All right, stay tuned. Hello and a warm welcome to this episode of the PPC Chat Roundup, our first episode of 2025. I hope you had a great time off. This podcast is where I round up the Slack discussion that happens on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. GMT. I'm your host, Anu, recording from my studio here in London, UK. I use this platform to share not just expert, but also my ideas and considered best practices about paid media and the direction the digital industry is going in. So if you want to keep up to date with my tips and tricks in the industry and get the latest on the podcast that has been called your go-to, if you don't make it to the PPC chat live discussions, and even if you do, then follow, share, and retweet. And that's right, Twitter or even on Blue Sky or on LinkedIn on my handle, The Marketing Anu, or join us on our LinkedIn group, which is the PPC Chat Roundup, or even just find me on LinkedIn, Anu Adikbola. You can find me sharing all my tips that we talk about sometimes on our Slack discussions. And if you're on Instagram, check us out at ppcchat_roundup to get quotes and snippets from previous episodes. We are going to be talking about doing research in PPC, whether that comes in the form of doing research for keywords, for ad copy, competitor research, and that we're going to be using and our wish for what tools that we'd like to help us do research better, because research is very important. Unfortunately, Julie, who's usually our host or our lead on this chat, had a family emergency. So the fantastic Sarah Steeman, who is a veteran in our field, usual in these chats, is going to be leading us. Before we start the chat, she also reminds us that this is intended for PPC professionals of all levels. So if you have something you want to share, please do, whether you find yourself junior and you're very new to the game, or whether you've been doing this for many years. Yeah, we are a friendly and supportive community. Please don't be afraid to participate, whether it's during this hour or later on when you have time to catch up with these questions. So without further ado, let's get on to our first question of this chat. Sarah asks, do you research as part of your PPC strategy and management? If so, what types? Melissa McKee goes, yes, so much research, keywords, competitors, client category. Julia Weiss, sure, keyword research, ad copy research, landing page research, competitors, and of course, does the offer have value? What's the reason people are going to want this thing? Sarah Steeman goes, I ask a ton of questions, which in some ways is research directly from the client. Amit goes, of course, I want to see what competitors are doing both nationally and locally, then keywords, ad copy. Julia Weiss, I also get a lot of open questions from clients. What can we learn from this campaign or placements or audience or what have you? There's a lot of optimism, wishful thinking out there about how much insight you can get from digital platforms. And we have Jeffrey Hain as well reporting, saying, yes, keyword research, search term research, ad copy, competitor, auction insights to see what competitors are doing. SEMrush especially is used. Nava Hopkins goes, absolutely, I wish more folks would. Sarah Steeman goes to Julia Weiss's answer saying, I agree. Sometimes I'm researching in my own account or I base my research off auction insights. I do feel like it's shortchanged a lot when PBCers are busy and they assume they know. Jeffrey Hain goes, I also capture screenshots of high volume keywords we bid on to see the ad copy used. by competitors, right? Jordan Starr goes as well, saying there's so many different kinds of research you could do on any given campaign or account. I think I find competitor research to be the most interesting. It makes me feel like a detective when I get to go spy on the opposition and see where they are lacking or what they are doing well. Abraham Friedman responds saying, can you elaborate to Jordan a little more about how you do the competitor research and do you implement them in your account? Do you do A/B test with them, something else to see if it's working for you? Jordan Starr goes, hey, Abraham, happy to. I like to use a location spoofing tool to identify competitors if it's local. I use this one, so that's brightlocal.com/local search results checker and a hyphen between each word there. I want to look at exactly who I'm going up against, and sometimes I find auction insights to be a little off, though I do look at those as well. Then I like to look at what platforms they're spending in and what kinds of ads they are running. Are they 100% all in on Google Ads versus Facebook, etc.? Then if they are in the same platforms I am planning on running, I will look at ad type. Are they missing out on opportunities could potentially capitalize on, like video or PMAX? I do keyword research as well, but I feel like if you can find a missing component that a competitor is neglecting, it's more impactful. Robert Brady responds as well, saying, yeah, with algorithms and automation driving campaigns so much, I think research is more important now. I need solid research so that you're feeding the right signals and data to the algorithms. Keyword research for sure, competitor research for sure, industry research to understand where the product or offering fits in the market, what pain points to prospects feel, etc. D. Pula goes, yeah, competitor research, SERP research, website research, so that's content design, speed, user friendliness, etc. Keyword research, customer behavior, device usage, geography, seasonality, pricing, relevant industry updates, and relevant scripts. This is, I feel, just an article waiting to happen. Anyway, look out for that on PPC Live. Julie as well responds saying, I'm finally back home, so chiming in with my answers. I do lots of research, both within an existing account and for keywords and competitive landscape. It is wild to me still how many businesses really have no idea what their digital competitors are offering, how they're positioning themselves, etc. And then we go on to question 2, where Sarah Steeman asks, is research something you do once or is it ongoing? If it is ongoing, at what frequency are you doing it and what types are you doing? But yeah, it comes on with her answer going, yeah, ongoing. I want to keep an eye on the competition, but I also don't want it to cloud my judgment, if that makes sense. So depending on spend, I'll look monthly or quarterly. It's very important that your competitor research does not cloud your judgment and you don't start doing a copying and pasting from somebody else's strategy because you're like, oh, that's my biggest competitor doing well. Because when you do that, you don't give yourself a unique selling point. You don't make yourself, you don't differentiate yourself from your competitor. And that's always important. Jordan Starr goes, yeah, I do keyword or search term analysis monthly on the first week of the month. So that's pretty ongoing. Competitor is when I'm launching, or quarterly to see if there are big shifts in the industry landscape. Julia Vice goes, ongoing. I'm very committed to my very long dashboards. Jeffrey Hain goes, ongoing. Things change. Agree, you have to keep an eye on competition. Also need to pay attention to account and spot trends that show a campaign or keyword is no longer performing at prior levels. Sarah Steeman goes, I agree on the new trends. I really think it's about getting to the why. Jeffrey Hain goes, I run 30-day rolling and 56-day rolling day-over-day reports to see the trends and spot the outliers. Melissa McKee goes, ongoing, pretty much the cadence Jordan Starr outlines, need to stay up on trend. Robert Brady goes, ongoing, and I wish I had time to do it more often. Riva Minkov goes, I wish I had time to do it more often. I feel like it's easier when it's predicated by a business or client question, so you know what you're looking for. D. Pula goes, yeah, ongoing for sure, but the frequency depends on whether the campaign is new, older, and has historical data, if a new competitor made marketing changes, if there's performance issues or client questions. Julie Piccini as well goes, yeah, I also do ongoing research, particularly a competitive review quarterly. I talk to my clients a lot too about what is going on in their industry, so I'm prepared on that front relative to their advertising. We then go on to Sarah's question 3, where she now asks for tool advice. So, do you have any tools you use for PPC research? This is a tool that I know Sam Tomlinson uses, and I'm a big fan of them. I do know the founder. I have used the tool before as well, but I have not used it for PPC. Sparktoro, Sparktoro. Highly advise you use it for content and keyword research. Before it was very much focused around audience research and what kind of content to write for them. But now they do keyword research. They have location split as well. So if you want to see the kind of keywords are being searched for in the UK as opposed to the US and in Canada, they have that information as well. So yes, go use Sparktoro. Jordan Stark as well responds saying, I use a location spoof tool to see local search results from time to time. So he talked about that in a previous answer. I like SEMrush as well for competitor comparison. I used to use SpyFu for competitor spend research, but all the tools for that seem to have very different answers. Would love to hear what other people use to try and see what competitors spend and where. Jeffrey Hain then responds to question 3. Jeffrey Hain goes, agree on using SEMrush to get info on ad text and keywords. I've benchmarked the spend they report for us versus what I know, and SEMrush is way, way lower. Sarah Steeman goes, I use Auction Insights, ChatGPT, Google SERP, and the actual website, so I guess the public information, the feature in Google Ads where you can see all ads from an advertiser. I talk to the client a lot. I used to get some data from Google Reps for benchmarks. Jordan Stark as well responds saying, I remember a time when Google Reps were helpful too. Those were the days. Sarah goes, if you spend a lot, you can get more help. Julia Weiss goes, SEMrush is good, but not great for prevention. And I like answer the public despite the new. Chris Murray responds saying that, we've just moved from SEMrush to SE ranking due to the cost, huge savings, and their research tools seem just as useful so far. Still find Keyword Planner reliable though, much easier to check for different geographic combinations. Jordan Stark responds to Sarah saying, I have had the occasional star supporter from Google when the account is spending a lot. I do wish the agency support came back like he used to, and we had a dedicated rep instead of revolving door of reps for every account every quarter or so. But you are right, I should give Google credit where credit is due, even though it is rare. Riva Minkov goes, gives her answers for tools, saying answer the public, SEMrush, and Google Keyword Planner are key. Google Trends is pretty helpful too, depending. Julie as well responds saying in account, query reports, geolocation reports, and auction insights outside of an account. I like to use a location spoofer as well. I search from one I have used so you can simulate at least general search in the locations you are not in. I like keywords everywhere and answer the public for finding themes and content ideas. Oh Lord, I'm going to use that as an idea for content ideas for PPC Live. And Dee gives her favorite tools, SEMrush, Google SERP, Keyword Planner, and sometimes SpyFu and Meta Ad Library at the top of my head. So we then go on to question 4, where Sarah asks, what is your biggest struggle or challenge when doing PPC research? Sarah goes, I will go first, answering exactly how much a competitor is spending. Do clients actually ask that? Gosh. Also, the fact that the information is directional only and far from exact. Exactly. So if a tool even manages to give you that data, or you can do a reverse engineering of the CPC data and the search traffic that you're seeing, it will never be accurate or anywhere close to actually the answer. Jeffrey Hain responds saying that if you're spending enough and have good rapport with your Google reps, sometimes you can get hints. Sarah goes, and that PPC is one part of the equation. To Jeffrey, she writes, and sometimes that rep changes, which stinks. Julia Weiss goes, the magical thinking, honestly, my clients are very optimistic about PPC and digital channels, and they should be, but the insights they expect us to get in the years post iOS 14 and all the go abroad, let the machine do it products are just not realistic. Robert Brady goes, I'm with Sarah at that I never know how accurate or trustworthy the tool's data is. Chris Murray responds saying that, keywords that have unclear intent or crossover which with non-competitor brands and definitions or institutions. The dream is a funnel report of where users are going from the SERP. Sarah as well goes, yeah, also real competition comes from the outside. I think what Julia Weiss said, that it is easy to get caught up mimicking successful competitors, leading to lack of originality. Also, the advertisers obsessed with the competition assume they are doing something right. So much of a grass is greener situation. You don't know that they aren't falling apart at the seams. Jeffrey Hain goes, yeah, I review competitor actions or copy, but rely on internal value props to set us aside from them. Sarah as well goes, yeah, it's also interesting in this thread that we should ask ourselves, what are the core needs and underlying motivations of our target audience? Are they driven by practicality, emotion, social status, or a desire for convenience? Another research that definitely everybody should be doing is, yeah, that audience research, but also like customer research. What is their pain point? And she continues, and sometimes the core needs are secret to the buyer or even unknown to the consumer. Jeffrey Hain goes, all price. What value do they get from us for the price that we're charging versus what the competitor charges? Reed goes, yeah, the biggest thing to me is the thought that competitors are doing it right and therefore should be copied. Every niche I've looked at, the competitors of my clients have places where the answer is, we wouldn't do it that way, and so their strategy isn't helpful for us to study. Example, if they run on informational queries, their spend will be higher than ours, regardless of end results. And Julia as well responds saying, I wish the tools had honest confidence levels attached to them. We all know that tools that say they show account spends are way off. It would be nice to know a context on that rather than having to assign one. As we move forward, seeing how AI is impacting ads and subs and such will be important data that is currently not really available. And then we go to our last question of our chat, where Sarah asks, is there a tool you wish existed for PPC research? So what's our wish list for PPC research? Jordan Sarr goes, yeah, an accurate competitor spend, please. And where they are spending as well would be even lovelier. I know that could be wishful thinking, but I don't know whether we want that, because we are somebody's competitor. Let's think about it this way. Do we want our competitor seeing accurately how much we're spending on our campaigns? So yeah, I don't think that will ever come out. Julia Weiss goes, reliable opportunity tools. The Meta Audience Planner is straight up lies. Doesn't even match standard population numbers. And the PMAX tool in Google has a no spend ceiling view, just estimation conversions. I need to know how much I can propose to spend and how many people I'm able to reach. Mysteries. Yeah, because Google just wants you to tell them, yeah, spend as much as possible. Sarah Simon goes, an affordable mind reader for end client, and yes, accurate competitor spend, or just to know their true marketing mix. An oracle that could perfectly predict the conversion rates of any ad copy, landing page, or campaign before you even launch it. Direct access to the inner workings of the search engine algorithms. A tool that could instantly identify and exploit any weakness in your competitors' PPC campaigns. Dare to dream. I wonder with AI, will we get better at all this? Julia Weiss goes, or way worse, faster, 50-50. Melissa goes, belated reply, better competitor insights would be fantastic. Julia as well says, I'd love to see some aggregated data on competitors in platforms, such as your CTR is 3% less than your top 3 most frequent auction competitors, or your CPA is 10% better than your top 3 most frequent auction competitors, or you could really improve your conversions if you concentrated on this geographic area more. These kinds of insights where it is not telling me about a specific competitor, but showing me where my account is relative to others I am in auction with regularly, that would be amazing. Again, these kinds of insights where it is not telling me about a specific competitor, but showing me where my account is relative to others I'm in auction with regularly, that would be amazing. But yeah, I think that's a very great note to end us off with, because as Julie does very well, she gives a wishful thinking that I think is actually quite reliable and quite possible, and is not totally outside the realms of possibility. She's not asking for proprietary data, but just seeing how well you are doing against your competitors without actually giving absolute data like actual spend of competitors, because you will be someone's competitor. And I'm not sure we want our competitors seeing what our spend levels are actually. So yeah, a great chat led by Sarah Steeman there. I hope you found that very useful. Took some very great takeaways from that as to how to do keyword research, how often to do it, some tools to even implement for yourself. I'll make sure there are links to all those tools in the show notes for this podcast. So please do look out for that. So yeah, I hope you found that useful. For any feedback about this podcast or even any corrections, please get in touch with me, whether it's on my LinkedIn with my name, Anu Adikbola, or on the handle at the Marketing Anu. You'll find all my posts that I tag with the Marketing Anu, but you'll also find me on Twitter. You'll find me on Blue Sky. You'll find me on Threads on that handle, Marketing Anu. So yeah, would love to chat to you about this topic if you'd like. And we do have a PPC chat roundup group on LinkedIn. So we'd love to hear from you about what you think about doing research in PPC. It'd also be great for all our long-standing and brand new listeners, even if you've only been listening for 30 seconds, to give the podcast a review. It really helps with the growth strategy of the podcast. You could do so by going on Spotify, which will just take seconds. And yeah, we've got some, you can do that on Apple, Podchaser, or anywhere you listen to your podcast. If you just go to linktree.com/PPC chat_roundup, it will give you all the links to be able to leave a rating or review. And yeah, before we go, I can't forget to remind you that there is going to be our first PPC Live event, February 6th. Just finalizing all the details for the location. It is going to be in London. We can't wait to see you for that. Tickets are only £49. The cheapest of any event you'll find there. Get your marketing manager to help you with that cost, because this is definitely work related. You'll be part of bringing a fantastic PPC event together, because we get our audience to ask questions about the issues that they're facing. There's a panel session. People share what's working for them as part of what I like to call our group discussion section of the event. So we hope to find you there. Just go to ppc.live to get your tickets. And if you want to sponsor as well, there's definitely also room for that. Finally, remember, for your campaigns and businesses to glide smoothly, there's a lot of hard work needed beneath the surface. So keep your swans kicking. Bye, and speak to you next week.